Ghost and Gravestones ticket at the door, and you'll get a discount. That's right, a discount. And did I mention a discount? I don't know about you, but I like saving money, so definitely take me up on that opportunity. So if you look across Lafayette Square, you'll see another Savannah icon. This is the Hamilton Turner Inn. It's built in 1873 for Samuel Hamilton, and formerly known as the Lord of Lafayette Square. Now, he was a blockade runner during the Civil War and was one of the wealthiest men here in Savannah. So, what did the wealthy do back then? They hold lavish and elite parties. The house coming up right in front of us is one of my favorite homes of the entire city. It's just gorgeous, especially at night. Here it is on our right. Now, when he was holding these lavish and elite parties, he did hire one person, though, to look after the home. And this was an off-duty police officer. So the police officer's job would be go upstairs and guard the roof. And that's where he would stay. And we're at the party right now. We're having a great time. It's very lively. It's very loud. But when the morning arose, they noticed something. The police officer did not come downstairs for breakfast. Thinking he fell asleep on the job, they sent the butler upstairs to check on him. But as the butler climbed the stairs and opened the door, a scream cut in his throat as he saw the police officer laying in a pool of his crimson blood and a shot in the back of his head. To this day, the murder does remain unsolved, but do not worry, because the police officer is still said to be there to this day. Now, a lot of people on moonlit nights come outside and notice the silhouette of a man holding a rifle at his shoulder. Now, the silhouette is there until a cloud passes in front of the figure and the silhouette is gone. Now, much like many of the homes here in Savannah, the Hamilton Turner Inn is now a bed and breakfast. And in 2018, a couple of amateur ghost hunters were using some EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, and didn't really hear anything until late in the night when they heard a sound of a jack-in-the-box being cranked louder and louder and louder until pop! And then they heard a distinct male voice say, "Shh, it's almost morning." That's the creepiest voice. I'll do the whole trip for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed that one. I was saving my vocal cords, don't worry. Now, you are seeing we are passing by Colonial Park Cemetery, this time on our right. So make sure you get your pictures and videos of the cemetery, because you never know what you might catch. For instance, in 2008, a little boy was filming the cemetery, and when he rewatched the video, he noticed something interesting. A little boy was running in the background. He jumped up to a tree and shot down like a cat. Now, you might not believe me. This is another one of our stories we tell on the Ghost and Gravestones. But actually, you can see this video on YouTube under Colonial Park Cemetery Ghost Boy. Now, I do want to say, if you guys end up catching anything, remember my name is Rose. I work for Ghost and Gravestones. I wouldn't mind like 5% of the profit you make off of that video. Now, also, you see those big brick walls? Those are called crypts, basically family tombs. So in the middle will be a big slab, and they put the newest member who passed away on that slab. Hopefully that person would have enough time to fully decay, or else we'd be shoving that person into an urn that's also in there, bones and everything, to make room for the next person who dies. But to all my families out there, a family that stays together, decays together. Thank you, thank you. Make sure you put that on your refrigerator. It's a great conversation starter if you ask me. Well, we are soon going to be going into Wright Square. This is informally known as Hanging Square. This is a place for the first courthouse, jail, and cemetery. And where the Gordon Monument stands today, once stood the gallows. The place executes Savannah's first murderer, Alice Riley. Now, Alice was one of the first 40 indentured servants coming to the New World from Ireland in 1734, and she was sent to work for a cruel and lecherous man named William Wise. Every morning, she'd be called into his bedroom to bathe him, brush his hair, and pull out last night's dinner out of his matted and tangled beard. Gross, right? But she did have a bright light in her life, and this was Richard, whom she fell in love with on the journey to Georgia. However, March 1st, 1734, the lovers had enough of Wise's abuse. That morning, when they were called into the bedroom, Richard wrapped his neckerchief around William and strangled him, almost to the point of death. Actually, it'd be Alice would finish the job herself by taking the back of William's head and pushing it down into the wash pail. He drowned in his own filth. Ugh. The lovers are free though! Woo! But not for long. While on trial, Alice made the surprise announcement that she was with child. So, out of respect for the unborn, they decided to withstand the execution until little James was born on December 21st. 3 weeks later, he was ripped from the arms of Alice, and she was marched straight to the long-awaited gallows, where she became the first woman and person to be executed right here in Wright Square. See what I did there? Thank you, thank you. Now you may be wondering, where's Richard during all this? I was just talking about him and all of a sudden he disappears? Well, that's right. He was actually on the run for months after escaping jail, but he was soon recaptured and brought straight back to the gallows, where he became the second person to be executed just one day after his beloved. Now, a lot of people who roam Wright Square actually notice a wild-eyed young woman dressed in rags come up to unsuspecting guests, normally women, asking, "Where's my baby? Do you know who my baby is?" Now, when this happens, they call the police, and this happens so frequently that the police have a protocol. They send in the rookies. Yes, that's right, they send in the rookies because they know by the time they get there, Alice will be long gone. This is a testament of a mother's love, carrying on beyond the grave. Unfortunately, little James had passed away just 2 weeks after Alice did, and he died of pneumonia. So unfortunately, they have not met in the afterlife yet, but hopefully they will soon, so they can both rest peacefully. Although Alice is a story that has fallen into my heart specifically, there is one woman whose name is literally written all over Savannah. This is Mary Telfair, whose presence is known 150 years after her death. Now the Telfair Academy will be coming up right in front of us when we make our way into Telfair Square. It'll be a yellow building with 5 statues out in front. It'll be very hard to miss. This was being built in 1818 by William J. for Mary's brother Alexander. However, when he passed away, it was given to Mary. But when Mary passed away in 1875, the house was given to the Georgia Historical Society. However, Mary did have a couple of rules for them to follow. There'll be no eating, drinking, smoking, or public exhibitions on Telfair premises at all times. Until the early 2000s came around, where they were having a reception. And at this reception, they served champagne. Here it is on our right. And as they were serving champagne, the roof caved in. Now, Mary also did not want any female actresses going on property at all times, and this was once again held for years until another art reception was held, where they hired a young actress to portray Mary Telfair, because that sounds like a great idea, right? Let's not only get an actress, but have her portray Mary Telfair. Nothing could go wrong. And they were right. Nothing did go wrong. The house was perfect all throughout the night. But when the young actress tucked herself into bed, she noticed somebody watching her. She turned her head, and it was actually Mary Telfair herself, looking at her, shaking her head, saying how disappointed she was in the woman's performance. Even in death, we are still critics, ladies and gentlemen, so please be prepared for that. But I want to say, Savannah is based on the events that happened right here. Between the Jepson Center and the Telfair Academy once stood the Chef Talcant House, a casualty of the siege of Savannah. Now, over the years, Savannah has avoided direct contact on American shores during the Revolution and blockaded during the Civil War. But no one walks away from war unscathed, not even Savannah. In 1779, a cannonball slammed into the northeast side of the Chef Talcant House. But instead of reducing the house to kindling, they decided to call the house the Cannonball House. Yes, because we're super creative down here, if you could not already tell. But during the bloodiest hour of the Revolution happened to be the siege of Savannah. This is when cannonballs rained down from the sky. And why did this happen? Well, the British forces took over Savannah, so we, the French and American, try to retake this. Now, this battle that happened lasted only 55 minutes. And once the smoke cleared, over 1,200 bodies lay dead or dying. And of that, 50 of them were wearing British colors. It was complete disaster on our side. However, under a flag of truce, we were allowed to bury the bodies where they lay. Whether they were dead or dying, we did have to bury them alive. But you may be wondering, where is this? The Spring Hill Redoubt. And where is the landmark for you guys? The Savannah Visitor Center. Yes, because we like to give a very deadly welcome to you guys. Thank you for the little pity laughs. I appreciate that. But I want to let you know, our culture and folklore are built on our ghosts right here in Savannah. Our very first settlers were acutely aware of their mortality, thinking ghosts would roam the streets and creep into their rooms as they slept. Now these settlers came from all around the world, from Europe and Africa. This created a big melting pot of Christian dogma and ancient tribal customs. But the person who could best navigate this was Valerie Fennell Aiken Bowles, direct descendant of Marie Laveau and daughter of voodoo priestess Old Mocha. Now Miss Bowles is a root doctor. And what is a root doctor? Well, they do spell castings to these the charms, amulets, and potions. Root doctors are normally named after animals, such as Dr. Fly, Dr. Bug, and Dr. Crow. Dr. Buzzard was Savannah's root doctor and Mrs. Bowles' husband. However, when he passed away, she took over the job herself. But it was very difficult to find Dr. Buzzard. You had to go through many trials and tribulations and talk to many of her helpers, students of voodoo. But once there, you could have your opponent be ridden by the hag or die by the use of her 3 black candles. So we're going to talk about that. Every day you'd be given a candle for 3 days. You would not eat or drink, but you just specifically think about the death of the victim. Each day, the candle would burn down and down and down to the very last day, the victim would fall dead. Now, the most notable Dr. Buzzard happened to be the first. Everybody thought he was fake. He wasn't real. So he got arrested a lot. And one day when he was arrested, he said, "Lock me up in a coffin and I will escape." So that's what they did. They put him in a coffin and they even put a padlock on it. And they laughed and went out to lunch, thinking there's no way he could escape, right? Well, that's what you would think. But when they came back from lunch and they peeked their head around the corner, not only was the coffin open, but when they opened it up a little bit, a black cat jumped out. That's the end of the story, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that one. But since we just talked about somebody, Dr. Buzzard, who escaped an enclosed space, let's talk about somebody who did not escape. Let's talk about dead children, everybody. Yes, our favorite topic of the night. So the Kehoe House, we did pass it on our way to the 1790. Now it is in Columbia Square. This was being built for William Kehoe and his family. And this is a true rags to riches story. Everybody loves a good one of those, right? Yes. He came to Savannah with just a few pennies in his pocket and he went to go work for the Phoenix Iron Works. However, he soon made his way all the way up to the top of the business where he owned that company himself. So the outside of the home, if you guys ever pass Columbia Square. No, there's going to be iron rods on the outside. Not only is that to protect from fires, but it's also to advertise for his business. His motto, "If this is what I can do for me, imagine what I can do for you." But he was a very busy man. So his wife was told to entertain the kids. And one of their kids happened to be twin boys. They were 5 years old. And what did any boy want to do? Well, they want to play games, like hide and go seek. That's a great game. So they looked at each other and they said, where's a good hiding spot? The closet? Psh, too easy, they'll find me any second. The fireplace? Yeah. So that's what they did. They went up to the 3rd floor, went into one of the bedrooms, and figured out they were gonna shimmy their way up into that fireplace. And that's what they did. They shimmied their way up and they were stuck. They sat there for about an hour until they looked at each other and they said, "I think we're the champions of hide and go seek." Yes! So they said, "I think we can make our way back down." And as they were shimmying back down, they noticed something. They found themselves stuck. So as they were shimmying around, that actually mixed up soot and ash and it fell right on top of them. So they suffocated. But you may be wondering, Miss Kehoe, the mother, she didn't notice her children are missing? No, not for about 3 days. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. But she was drawn to the 3rd floor by rotting flesh. So she thought an animal got stuck up in there, so she made her way up the 3rd floor, went into that bedroom, peeked her head around the corner, but no, it was not an animal. It was actually her 2 twin boys. Yes, so to all my kids out there, make sure you say thank you to your parents or guardians for not leaving you in a fireplace for 3 days. You're welcome. And the Kehoe House is a bed and breakfast like many other buildings here in Savannah. And one 4th of July